My parents blew the wedding fund they saved for both twins on my sister. Then they called me from a hospital bed and demanded I pay their medical bills. When I said no, my mom screamed so loud nurses came in. My dad ended it with, "You're not our daughter anymore. I'm 23F and I have a twin sister. She's 12 minutes older, so she became the miracle and I became the extra." I learned in high school that my parents only wanted one baby. They got two, and they picked her. From that day on, I stopped chasing their approval like a starving dog. Growing up, I competed because I had to. If she got an A, I got an A+. If she did one club, I did three. I became valedictorian. I landed a scholarship. I graduated from a top business school. And it didn't matter. My parents acted like my success was an insult to her feelings. She didn't even care about winning. She just wanted attention. And she was really good at looking hurt when I did better. The last straw was our 21st birthday. I expected something. Anything. A dinner. A cake. A normal family moment. Instead, I woke up to an empty house. There was a note on the counter. "We went to the beach with your sister and her friends." That was it. I got a $50 gift card and silence. I packed a bag that same day and moved in with a friend. My parents didn't chase me. They didn't even fight. The next time they called, it wasn't to check on me. It was to tell me a faucet was leaking and I should handle it. I told them I didn't live there anymore. My mom just said, "Okay," like I told her the weather. So I built my life without them. A decent apartment, a solid job, peace and quiet. Then, 2 years later, my uncle called me in a panic. My parents had been hit by a truck, broken ribs, serious injuries. They'd been in the hospital for days. I drove over because I'm not a monster. The second I walked in, I realized why they finally remembered my number. They didn't want me. They wanted my wallet. They told me my sister refused to come. She married some rich businessman in California, and suddenly she was too busy to visit. She didn't want to ask her husband for help because it would look tacky. So my parents turned to the daughter they ignored and asked me to cover the bills. They said they'd pay me back fast. They said it like they were doing me a favor. I went home and sat on my couch in the dark. I kept hearing my mom's voice from childhood. "Stop making your sister feel bad." I realized I was still competing. A part of me wanted to pay just to prove I was better than her. That thought made me sick, so I didn't pay. A week later, my phone rang again and again. I finally answered. My mom started crying before I could speak. I told them, calm and flat, that I wasn't covering anything. Then the storm hit. My mom sucked in a breath and exploded. "After everything we did for you?" Her voice cracked, then rose again. "You're ungrateful. You're cruel. You're selfish." My dad waited, silent, like a judge. Then he said, "You're no longer our daughter." Click. I stared at my screen. My hands didn't shake. My chest didn't cave in. It was almost funny. They hadn't treated me like their daughter in years. They just finally said it out loud. My uncle texted me afterward, trying to guilt me. That's when the real reason came out. My parents couldn't pay because they had no savings left. Why? Because they'd used the fund they set aside for our weddings. They spent most of it on my sister's wedding. Then they blew what was left on a Europe trip. No insurance, no backup, just vibes and denial. And now they wanted me to mop up the mess. 2 weeks later, my sister showed up at my door. She looked different. Better hair, better jewelry, a new voice like she'd practiced being classy. She sat on my couch and talked about herself for 15 minutes straight. Parties, her rich husband, her kids who were actually his kids. She smiled like she was on a stage. Then she finally got to the point. She said our parents were so needy after the crash. She was bored. She wanted to go back to California in 2 days. So she needed me to reconcile with them and take over. Not because she cared, because she didn't want the guilt. She leaned forward and said, "Just do it for me." I nodded like I was listening. I let her talk herself empty. Then I walked her to the door. After she left, I blocked her number. I didn't feel sad. I felt clean. Like I'd finally scraped something rotten off my skin. They built a family where I was optional. Now they can live in it without me.